Lace bugs. I'm Nidhi.
I'm Sophie.
This is a three-part series on Macadamia lace bugs. In this series, we will be examining the Macadamia lace bug's basic biology, population genetics, and the species diversity of this important pest. We will also talk about the implications of the Macadamia lace bug.
On macadamia growers.
We are joined today by Dr. Ryan Shofner, who has recently completed his PhD thesis.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, happy to be here.
What are lace bugs?
So lace bugs are a type of insect. You kind of hear about people call everything a bug. See a spider, it's a bug.
Yeah.
These are actually bugs.
Okay.
So you can think of bugs as kind of a bigger division within the insect. So, like butterflies and moths are one group, grasshoppers are another group. Bugs are one of those groups kind of on that same level.
Yeah.
So lace bugs are a smaller group within these true bugs, and on the family level. So macadamia lace bugs are, originally it was thought to just be one species, but it turns out there's actually quite a few. So in here we actually have a Macadamia lace bug species. This is an insect collection, and this is where we keep all of our research materials. So what we found was with Macadamia lace bugs, there's actually 4 species that have caused problems with macadamias historically. There's only 3 species currently. 1 species hasn't been detected since 1967. The other 3, there's one that's confined up to the Atherton Tablelands region in northern Queensland, and then 2 that are found in southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales. And it's within these regions where both the lace bugs and macadamias are native that they're starting to become a problem.
So how do these insects reproduce?
So macadamia lace bugs basically live out their entire life on macadamias. There is a very close host-plant relationship. So these insects can only survive on macadamias and closely related plants. So they reproduce actually by laying their eggs within the tissue of the flower, so on the flower parts. And after a few weeks, the nymphs emerge and then grow very rapidly. They undergo 5 molts and then emerge as an adult, and then disperse from there. So both the nymphs and the adults actually feed on the macadamia flowers, and that's where the problem lies. So these are sap feeders, and they use a long tube-like mouth part to pierce the tissues of the flowers and actually suck out the sap. And that causes both mechanical damage and maybe some other damage as well, and the flower will wind up wilting and dying. And no flowers is no macadamia nuts.
So are there any natural predators of these lace bugs?
There's a few. There are native species in their native range on their native hosts, so there's obviously predators out there for them. There's been observations of lace wing larvae taking lace bugs, and ants as well probably are a pretty important predator. Ants are pretty well known to take off any insect that interfere with their aphids and whatnot. So there's those 2. However, they don't occur in large enough numbers to really cause any sort of large dent in the population. And lace bugs are full of natural defenses. They actually have scent glands, which can cause them to be unpalatable, possibly, like many other members of the true bugs have those. They're also pretty well armored. They're kind of a hard insect, so a lot of chitin, a lot of exoskeleton there.
So in terms of the food chain and trophic interactions, what has caused an increase in the population of these insects?
The likely cause is the fact that macadamias are grown in such dense orchards. Macadamias historically are an understory tree in the rainforest. So they occur singly, isolated, and it wasn't very easy for lace bugs to move between them. But now they're grown in very close set rows with a lot of flowers. So this insect now has orders of magnitude more resources than it used to historically. And like any sort of trophic interaction and within the ecosystem, these sorts of things can take a while to start to balance out or to tip out of favor. So, macadamia is a fairly new industry in Australia, only about 60 years old. And it's taken until about 10 years ago for them to start to, trip over those thresholds into causing a lot of problems.
Yeah. So what are the species that are causing the most damage?
So the main species, what's known as the Macadamia Lace Bug, is called Eulonemia decoris. It's that genus Eulonemia that is causing most of the issues. So Eulonemia decoris is northern New South Wales predominantly, with some records in southeast Queensland. There's another species which is actually undescribed. We found it was new to science, and that's the second most primary pest, but it doesn't have a name yet, so we're currently describing that, and I can't actually say what it's called because it doesn't have a name yet. The one that's up in the Atherton tablelands is Eulonemia lei, and then the fourth species, which was historically in southeast Queensland, is Eulonemia concava, but that's the one that, again, hasn't been seen for a long time.
Okay. So, where are they causing the most damage?
Definitely northern New South Wales. The Northern Rivers region is probably the hardest hit. The last couple of years, southeast Queensland has had problems with the undescribed species, the new species. That seems to be predominantly present up there, but it sometimes occurs in New South Wales as well. So it's mostly, those two regions. The Bundaberg region in southeast Queensland has actually not been affected yet, but that's kind of extraliminal. Macadamias are not native to that region, and it seems like lace bugs haven't made it there yet. The Atherton tablelands, the orchards that are present there are affected by it as well, but there's not as many orchards in that region, so it's not as much of an economic impact, I don't think.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us here today, Dr. Ryan. He'll be joining us next episode where we go through his findings and his PhD thesis. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.